Hi Umesh, how are you?
Hello, I am fine, Ankur. Nice to see you.
Yes, nice to see you as well. It's those lovely summer mornings, I would say.
Yeah,
The heat is scorching outside, right? At least in Pune, where I am, it's a bit warm. And I was just reading the papers in the morning. It was like it's touching the 40s and the 41s. Those kind of temperature that you want to avoid, right? Going out in the sun.
yeah. In Delhi, same. Yesterday there was a Holi festival, as you know, across India. But yesterday evening there was
Yes.
thunderstorm in Delhi, so it made the weather a little bit
Oh.
cooler. But now
Ah.
it is quite warm. It must be 39, 40 degree outside, I think.
Yeah, I've been to Delhi, Gurgaon. I know the extreme temperature,
Yeah, yeah, you
so
told me.
definitely
And I've
it's
been to
fun
Pune
there.
also. It's a
So
very lovely city. It used to
yes,
be one
indeed
time
it
a hill
is.
station for the western zone people, but now, of course, it's any metro.
Yep. And it's a lovely city. And if you're in Pune, please do visit us.
Sure.
I'm just right in the corner, so just give me a buzz. So let's start. Yes, the Holi festival was there. I had a great time celebrating Holi. With less water and as much as organic colors as possible, right? And a
Great.
lot of sweets. And sweet doesn't affect me badly as such because I cycle to work,
Oh, that's
so
great.
I put in more yeah, I put in more efforts.
Nice.
It's electric cycle, but I still turn off the electricity, and if I had sweet more, I just try to cycle more, right? That's how it is.
It's a
So
very good
let
exercise.
me introduce. Yes, indeed it is, and more than exercise, it's more like a discipline
Sure.
that builds in yourself, right? Because I strictly believe in that. No matter what you do, if you do it in a disciplined manner and consistently, that's gonna have better effect on your body than going one day to the gym in a week and just trying to put on extra weight, right? That's gonna stretch and break your muscles. So that's just
Right.
my personal philosophy. Saying that, let's start the talk show. I can already sense it's fun talking to you.
Yeah.
You have a very lovely presence and a wonderful background. Uh, you
Thank
know,
you.
uh, that you are. All right. So I'll just quick a quick introduction about myself. We are speaking first time, so let me do the honors. So my name is Ankur. I have been in the industry for almost 2.5 decades. Been into various fields like working in IT, non-IT, management, consulting, programming, implementation, support. Basically around customer success. That's particularly what my forte is. I've started this talk show. I think that's 5 6 months back, and pretty much more. And I've been almost. This is my 75th talk show, and I'm aiming for crossing 100 this year. Because
Oh,
last year
great.
my target was 50. Yeah, last year
Okay.
my target was 50. 50 talk shows, and I was able to reach half century, so I was very happy. So this year I have kept a target of 100, and I'm sure with support from people like you and others, I would be able to reach that target. And the idea is simple. It's collaborate to elaborate. So we basically work on enhancing our visibility and relevance in the professional community we are in, right? So basically, you getting visibility in my around 50,000 connection across my social networks, and I get visibility in your network, right? And more than that, more than visibility, it's about relevance, right? And what topic we are passionate about, and what topic we want to put ourselves strategically in the community, so that we also reach to different audiences with the same mindset, right? It's basically meeting like-minded people like you. So that's pretty much about me and my talk show. It's an international talk show. I've done talk show across with different people across the globe. Russia, Canada, France, Europe, Australia, and just to name a few countries, right? And there has been guests all around. Mostly it is virtual, but I've done few face-to-face live talk shows. So if you're in Pune, we can do a face-to-face as well.
Okay.
And that's pretty much about this. So why don't I give the stage to you, and you can introduce yourself to the audience. who are watching live, or they will watch later as a recorded session on LinkedIn.
Thank you, Ankar. Your profile is quite exciting, and I'm so happy at this phase of your life. You've already done so much, and as a passion, you have started this talk show. You've already done 75, and that too internationally. It's a wonderful, achievement. And I wish
Thank you
you
so
many
much.
more. I'm sure a person
Okay.
like me would always be eager or keen to, join hand or come on your show. And I agree. It's not only the visibility part; it's also the content part, as you rightly said.
Correct.
People of like-minded, thought can join and maybe mutually, add values to each other. I have been a strong believer of, mentoring as well as reverse mentoring. So nowadays, reverse mentoring is taking quite a lead because younger people do
Mhm.
mentor the senior like me, and I will not be surprised if you are, one of my mentor in this kind of, shows if we do in future. Uh, For
Yeah,
me,
it
it
will be
is
an honor if I could be a mentor. Thank you for
right.
mentioning that. It's really an honor. If
Yeah,
I or anybody, right? I That's a new concept I've
yeah.
heard, reverse mentoring, and I can see the level of depth it has, to yourself and people who will interact in that
So
manner.
this
It's
is
pretty
my
good.
third actually podcast. Two already there
Hmm.
visible on the LinkedIn
Hmm.
platform. So I am sure those also had a lot of good visibility, and I'm sure. I think this is first joining hand with you, and it will be quite successful. Primarily, I am a
Yes.
academically I'm an engineer by profession. I completed my engineering 70 in year 75, so it is my golden year of completion of engineering. 50 years back, I did my BTech
Yeah.
from Punjab. Thereafter, my field actually
Okay.
went through the marketing area only, primarily, started with tractors and component. I never had a chance or never had a, maybe willingness to join the production line or the R&D line. So marketing always, pleased me. It was more of, networking and talking to each other that time, traveling, that another, kind of that time, the young age. So I did PTAG. Thereafter, I joined a company, Suri Research Foundation. Actually, it was from a campus, and I was sent to Philippines to join a course of product and market development at IRI. IRI is International Rice Research Institute, Manila. That time I went to 76, completing degree in 75. Going in 76 was a kind of a dream come true, and I worked on power tillers. That was your single axle tractors in the farm. So from there, I joined.
Okay.
After coming here, did some project work in Karnataka at that time, and then one of the occasion during I think Agro Expo in Delhi in '82 or '78, I think, yeah. TAFE people, their director was visiting us, so they hired me. So the journey started in marketing from there. So from TAFE, I moved to
Okay.
TAFE, I was a area executive, then became the regional head in North India. Then from there, I DCM Group company. They took me in Shriram Pistons, which was that time a small company. Uh, it is making piston and rings and engine valve for the IC engines. But now it has become big company. That time I joined, it was very small.
Okay.
You can imagine when I joined, the aftermarket turnover was just, I think, 25 to 30 crore. And when I left, it was plus
Oh.
side of 500
Okay.
crore. That segment which I was, yeah.
Wow.
And during that tenure only, there another project of DCM, which was DCM Daewoo. Later they became Daewoo Motors, which was the multinational company, came to India, set up the plant to manufacture CLO car. If you heard the name, CLO was the first luxury car which landed in India. It was very successful then. So I was shifted from Daewoo Motor to head the parts operation. So I headed the parts operation, and after that successfully,
What
it
year was
was
it?
95. It was
Approximately.
95.
Okay, okay. So basically, why I was asking was I wanted to know 1 year that you have worked after I was born, right? So that's what I
So
was trying to ask.
what is
Because every
yeah?
experience you said, was before I was born. So I was just eagerly waiting for 1 year. You will say, okay, that is
So
after I
which
was
year
born.
was your
Yeah.
year of birth?
I like to hide my age, but it's
Ah,
82.
good, good, good. Actually, my elder son is 82 born only. I got married in
Oh,
80.
okay,
My elder
nice.
son born in 82. A younger one in 85. I had two sons. That's beside the point. So from
Yeah.
Shriram, from DCM Daewoo to Daewoo Motors, then back to Shriram Pistons. There I was a country head. So you can say the last 25 to 30 years before I superannuated, I was at a country head position, leading the marketing of almost 100 to 150 people. I liking blow line, original head, zonal head, area manager kind of people. And I have been come to identify it as a marketing strategy for the aftermarket, part of the automotive industry. Aftermarket, which is basically channel management,
Mhm.
where you handle distributors, expand channel, and aftermarket is the product which you sell after the main product is sold. For example, if car is sold, then after it goes on the road, then you need spare parts, you need so many things. Those are aftermarket. So that's a very complex marketing, as a matter of fact. So you will always find smart people in the aftermarket because this is a very complex marketing. For example, uh, in this why I say complex marketing, because the owner is there, then there's an influencer, then there's a seller, and then there's a company which produce. So four elements are there, and you have to carry that link with you if you have to succeed in the marketing. So that was my strategic
Mhm.
expertise I gained on my experience. And as I told you, when I superannuated, the company has become very big. The aftermarket itself was 500 crore plus, and total company has now grown to 2,500 crore. It is a kind of multinational supply
Yeah,
to
that's
every and any
impressive.
brand in the world, wherever the requirement is piston. This is on my quick from academic to uh, professional experience. And in the meanwhile, while on the job, I did courses in ISB Hyderabad executive management program, and also I did one management program in Bharatiya Vidya Institute, which is Pune, and there I am the gold medalist also. This was
Which one?
year 83.
Bha- Bharti Vidyapeeth, you said,
So I
right?
am a
Yeah, because I was in
okay.
Bombay. Yeah, so sorry to interrupt you, but I was in Bombay, Bharti Vidyapeeth. I am
Uh,
myself a Bharti Vidyapeeth
So we
student,
may
so
be
that's
then
why I was
alumni.
asking. I
We
did
may be
came to
alumni of
Pune
that.
from,
So I am the
with different streams, but yes, because
I
I
am
was in
topper of
Bombay.
that batch,
Yeah.
83. But it was not a regular batch since I was working. It was a evening program in the colleges. I was joining there in Jaipur, and we were exam. So this is what has been my brief this thing. And after superannuating, the another company called GS Automotive, which I mentioned to you, they are the leading, again, under suspension parts manufacturer in the country for the commercial vehicle and the car. So they hired me to mentor their marketing team and to mentor the young person, who's the son of the chairman. He was getting into the CEO position. So he was attached with me for 5 years. So primarily, advising the marketing and mentoring the guy to take over this position. So this has been my journey, academically and professionally. Otherwise, I belong to a small place called Ambala Kent, where I was born and did my schooling there. Then did engineering in Punjab. Then coming around in India and now settled in Delhi. I am married. I have two sons.
Yeah.
One is settled in USA, other is settled in Europe. Both are settled, family-wise and professionally. Both are doing well. And now I live here with me and my wife here, and she's also postgraduate from Delhi University, and of course she is homemaker. And now my time I pass, giving lecture to these some business meeting, sales taking place. They invite me, giving talk to some management college students, and also as a freelancer consulting on various project. That's what keep me busy, and also sometimes writing articles
Yeah.
on the LinkedIn, which have also got good following nowadays. My latest article was on leadership only, concerning leadership. So my passion has been to share my knowledge, and if my passion can become profession, is all the more good. Uh, what I mean to say, if I am paid value for money and value for time, I feel happy. Otherwise, I am also delighted if my suggestion or my comments or my views add to values of somebody's operations. So it enlightened me. And in the in this, I keep learning also, which I mentioned is a reverse mentoring. While I do mentor, so I keep learning and keep improving myself. That's nutshell I can introduce myself.
Yeah, that's very good. Yeah, no, yeah, that's a pretty impressive
Yeah,
journey you have had, right? And while going through the journey, I'm sure there has been many
yeah,
learning, as you said, and more than that, the complex marketing involved in aftermarket, right? Because I can, I cannot fully understand, but at least get a sense of what aftermarket marketing,
hmm,
leadership or strategic consulting in that area would be, right? To be able to anticipate,
yeah,
forecast things, it's much more difficult than actually, building 4 cars or 400 cars. Then, based on the environment, the aftermarket demand may change, right? And you can maybe you can give specific scenarios that can help
yeah,
others joining this particular area, right? Because I'm sure
yeah,
it will be complex, right?
yeah,
There are a lot of factors. Geographical
yeah,
condition is one of them, and
yeah,
there may be much more.
yeah.
If you can give a glimpse of one of those areas, I think that will
I'll
really
give.
add value.
Uh, I, while I speak, I'll also suggest somebody, if you go on my LinkedIn profile, I have written 2, 3 articles about 3, 4 years back, which was on the strategy for automotive marketing and
Mm-hmm.
the B2B and B2C concept in the aftermarket for automotive industries. But in shortly, if I have to explain you, see, aftermarketing is, as I said, starts when the product is sold. So in talking in context of automobile, for example, if I am owner of motorcycle or a car or a truck, during my running, I need some help in terms of some part failure or some part damage or accident take place, or your some products are wearing off. There are moving products, there are non-moving products. For example, if you are owning a motorcycle, your tires are moving, your gears are moving, your clutch cable are moving, your body is not moving,
Brake
that's a
pads.
static. So but
Yeah.
it may need parts if it meets some damage. So for that, you have to go to the market where you can get the spare parts. It could be the market dealers from the OE manufacturer
Right.
also. It could be the independent. So that is aftermarket. So manage that channel, the network in the country or in the region, so that you are very close to the customer when he needs the product. If you need a piston, if you need a bulb, if you need anything, you need not to go kilometers away. You need to have some closest parts shop. In Pune also, you must have seen, which is the biggest market in two-wheelers in the country. Uh, you will find a spare parts every crossing.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Pune is such a biggest market. So offered market is complex because here are not that only customer and product relations maintained. Is there company relationship with the shop which stock your product, the shop relation with the distributor who actually buys from you and distribute the product, then the relationship with the mechanic who fit the product, because he's the person. If you have motorcycle, you have to go to take mechanic, and whatever mechanic says, you have to accept it, because every owner may not be engineer or technical man. So we have to connect the shop, and then of course the customer who pays finally. So the four people you have to manage
Right.
in your strategies. That's why it become a complex marketing. So it's not just negotiate the price and start supplying to OEM. That's simple. Yes, that's also not very simple, because you have to approve your design, you have to approve your product, then go to the OEM. But in aftermarket, you have to carry all the four agency with you. So I maintain a kind of linkage chart. If some customer is X, what is the linkage? Whose dealer he is linked? Whose customer is linked? Whose distributor linked? If everyone promotes your brand, only then your product will sell. So that's the strategy which comes, so I say, as a complex marketing. So that's the
Okay.
aftermarket. So primarily you have
So
to
it's
create,
more on promotion.
yeah, it more on promotion and placing your product at a place which is convenient for the buyer to buy at a reasonable price. All these things are there because they're very highly competitive Today you get local competition, you get international competition, because every brand of the world is available in India. For example,
Correct.
any latest brand is available in India. So you have to compete not only with Indian manufacturer, so you have to lead this thing. So in this, I learned that the real bug lies with the CEO of the company. It is not the frontline salesman who's to blame. So when I say the leadership, if I'm a recent article you must have if read, that I say the onus is on the leader. He has to decide the direction. So he has to be really own the customer and own the product. Like you own the product, if you design something, you own it. So marketing is like owning. It is not that I have a marketing department, I have a finance department, I have R&D, I have production. Those are not solos. Those are all independent department. Unless they, work, combined in same synergy, aligning their all thinking for the customer. What I mean to say, there the CEO role comes. So I always believe in the customer first approach. If anything you have to succeed in, your profession, business, customer is the first thing you have to. If customer is not there, you can't exist. So customer is the first priority.
Correct.
So that's the starting point of my, management fundas. Many articles I have written. The latest one is that only. Uh, when I
Yeah.
say strategic approach to enter market, the CEO perspective, that's the article just say basically to, align with the leadership topic which we're talking. So I, the firm believer, Ankur, that for any CEO to ensure that company becomes a high performing revenue company. So, businesses, you have to generate the revenues also. Without revenue, you can't, really grow. The CEO has to own the marketing. It doesn't mean that he has to become the marketing head, but it means that he has to own the marketing as is, he owns, if he has three sons, he owns all the three sons. Marketing, he cannot just delegate to marketing. Production, you can still think of. R&D, you can still think of. Marketing, because when customer comes, CEO has to be there. So on that, I have feel that for a to make the company success, the CEO must own the customer, market, and marketing. So that's what is my this thing.
Yeah, he needs to
So,
drive it,
and
right? That's what
starting point
you're
from
trying
the
to
market
say,
only.
because, right.
You know how the thing starts. You have an idea. We may call it ideation stage. Idea comes. Then idea convert into product or service. Suppose you have an idea to start a travel agency. You have an idea. Once you start, then you have to start a company called some travel company. Then you have to see who is your customer and whom you have to approach. So the idea to transition to execution, this is a stage which a product or service pass through. In this, all the three stages, CEO is the main fulcrum. He's the person who is guiding, everybody. If customer is not with you, then nothing, nothing is left. So everything. So first point is market. How to enter the market. This is CEO's first confusion. How to enter the market. It is easy to design a product. It is easy to
Right.
design it, but how to sell in the market. That's very important. Sometimes it is said in the CEO vision, it is not you need a very efficient people, but you need very effective people. You know why I'm saying effective and efficient? Effective is a go-getter, because you're dealing with customer, and customer is not so-called scientist. He won't do go into detail. He will look at his comfort, his delight, his experience. That's what marketing has to decide. There where the CEO has to really capture or recapitulate all these things while deciding the strategies.
Right.
That's how the strategic thinking comes for a CEO. So starting point in
Yeah.
market.
And yeah. No, that's good. And what's your take on the cost of failures? Because I'm sure you might have seen people making mistakes and trying a different direction. What's your take? If I may ask you, on the real cost of failure and how CEO or somebody can take efforts to avoid it based on your guidance or your strategic leadership. Mentoring. is what I wanted
I
to
think
understand.
there one thing. I have also written an article. Maybe if you go through, I have written the failures are success in progress. I have written that article. Failure is necessary actually. It is not, you cannot guarantee 100% success. So I have written that failures are success in progress. So don't worry. Failures will happen. But only thing is when mistake happen or we lead to failure, it should not repeat. My call to the CEO or as a CEO, if I was, I would say, okay, you have done a mistake and you will learn out of it. Don't repeat it. And expecting that there will be no mistake, we are living in the different world. Mistake will happen. So one has to accept. Number
See,
one. Number
yeah,
two,
that,
uh,
yeah,
the CEO must say or must you know think in his mind that it is my fault. You can't tell it is your fault. As a CEO, if he has a, if you have a CEO who says it's my fault, then things will smoothen very much. Because if you say your fault, you keep on doing that only, then you are not a good effective CEO. Build a team.
mhm,
If there's a fault, accept the fault. If there's success, give it to the team. You will be a very successful CEO. I told you I was reading a book which is called 11 Rules for Life, which I thought I will tell you, but it's right time to tell you. In that book, the rule, he says, it's a 11 Rule for the Life, book name 11 Rules for Life. And
mhm.
it is my fault. His rule of the life is always say it is my fault. And it says extreme leadership. I'm just reading out of the book, this thing. Leaders must own everything in their world. There is no one else to blame. So if this is his rule, if you have this rule, then you are a good, really, effective leadership. Now your question: how to resolve that problem? See, when mistake happen only when each department is working in its own solos or in own independently. Marketing doesn't talk with sales doesn't talk with production doesn't talk with R&D. Everybody is working in his own random, in their own place, in their own world.
Silos,
Nobody
yeah,
is
correct. Yeah,
silos, and nobody is worried about customer. The CEO should bring in the customer factor and ask the finance guy and ask the R&D guy, ask the marketing guy, what does customer need? How we can make the
yeah.
customer's delight or customer experience so that he comes to you again. That's what mistake is, transferred into or converted into an opportunity. So that's what is my take on the mistake
No,
resolution.
that's a very good take, and I've seen that happening in my past companies as well. When I asked to people, right, why are you building this? And the answer, what I was expecting, right, was that we are building it to make customers' life easier. And other than that, what I hear is a very, if I can use the word stupid response, is that I'm building it because my manager told me to, right? That's crazy, right? So
Yeah,
I totally relate to what you're trying to say.
yeah,
When you're building something, it's not a product. It's all about the experience. Because
yeah,
if I am a consumer, I really don't care which brand or which product or which particular part is going into what, right? All I care is about my experience. If I'm
yeah,
driving a car, right, I want to just go to my parking, put in the key, make sure it's authorized access, start the engine, and just drive smoothly, and make sure I reach the destination with the most comfort as much as I paid for. Right? That's pretty much
yeah,
what I'm looking for. I mean, I will
yeah,
not just turn back and say, okay, this is brand X leather seat or brand Y AC.
yeah, yeah,
While these are important, that's what not the customer is looking for, right? Not
yeah,
at all. If the light, if he's driving at night, the customer wants, the light to function. He
yeah.
doesn't care if it is brand A, B, or C, right? It doesn't matter. So
Absolutely
the
right.
experience itself, yeah, the experience itself, is so important, that actually overrides pretty much everything, and that's very
Yeah,
important to understand for everyone. And that's pretty much when people say they are adopting, agile methodology. For example, agile is a word, right? It's a verb, it's action. It's not noun that you want to put it on different tags and just market it. That's not what agile is all about, right? If we take agile as an example,
yeah,
right? It's all about your action, your deliverables. And the reason I asked you about the cost of failure is because many of the marketing concepts came into the software industry like Six Sigma and many of the quality standards, you must be aware. And the reason they came is when you're dealing with products which are steel solid, they have value, the cost of failure is much higher, right? If you talk about software, the cost of failure might be lower, right? There's nothing that is waste product sometimes, right? Yeah, the time and effort gets wasted, the product itself does not get wasted, you can replace it. But in manufacturing and hardware and different markets you have been, the cost of failure is much higher. If you make one small mistake, or for example, you're talking about small piston, right, or some small part, if that the size is not accurate to the last right, it's not going to fit properly. And if you design that in millions of pieces, it's a bigger cost of failure, right?
Yeah,
So,
you must
these
have seen the
concepts that
news that so and so company has called back 50,000 vehicles or 30,000
recall,
vehicles
yeah, yeah,
to replace one
yeah,
maybe small wire. So that's a mistake, but they learned out of it and they replaced it. Everything is happening for the
ownership.
customer delight. Everything is happening
Yeah,
for the
and they took
customer
ownership,
experience.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
ownership.
and they took ownership, as you said correctly. And
Yeah,
I'm getting goosebumps when I talk about these kind of concepts, because when people take ownership, they understand that it's not the failure of a particular department. It's like a mother or a father saying, to a child that you are bad. A child is not bad; he's your product. You need to be able
absolutely.
to communicate, right? You need to guide it, because if you don't provide the right environment and the right set of people so that your child can grow correctly, it's not his or her fault, right? Similarly, the product, it's not a particular team's fault. If
Yeah.
CEO is designing it, it's the CEO's vision that
Mm.
drives thing. That's marketing, sales, development, R&D. That's a different blocks that coming together, and you need to put such right people in the right
Yeah.
place. Because if you put a wrong people in that place, you will have a disaster. And the fun part is sometimes people move on, right, at the leadership level. So sometimes accountability does not come in from some levels people have seen, right? But that's why these positions are important and highly paid, because there's so much accountability, there's so much at stake that they
Bilkul.
take
You
responsibility
have
for and to
rightly
drive
worded.
towards.
Yeah, you have rightly
Yeah,
explained.
when I'm the right.
At this
Yeah.
stage, I also bring in the concept of insight. That's why, as you know, we you must be keeping so many article, reading article, VUCA word, volatile, complex, ambiguous. Everybody says VUCA word. Nothing is definite in life. Anything can happen anytime. So in this case, the CEO, since we are focusing on the leadership, the CEO or the top leadership, they have to have a information, a feedback system from the customer. That's why I bring in the now concept of the marketing insights. Marketing insight is what? See, if you ask one-to-one meeting with your marketing director, he will only talk about marketing, marketing, marketing. If you talk about production, he will talk about production. If you talk about finance guy, he will talk it. But if you talk to inside department, what does customer think? And what are the other department thinking? So CEO must have that, access to that data. So for CEO to make a strategic marketing, I feel it's right time to have an insight section or insight person whose job will be to, working with every department, whether it is finance, whether it is, marketing or research, even the customer, visit customer, and compile the data and compile the feedback. Suppose for a just chance the customers think that this particular thing should be on the right and not on the left. From a R&D side, he must have put all the data so that the person come right. Customer think it should be left. So customer voice somebody has to capture everything. So it's a CEO who can guide everybody. He can guide the R&D also. He can guide the finance also. That I want this product to be on the left only as the customer wants. I want it to be in the same price band, and I want the customer should be happy. That's a marketing department responsibility. If he does it, that's a strategic approach by the CEO for the long run of the company's success. When we start calling a customer lifelong value, आज का ये concept भी आ गया है marketing में.
Hmm. Mm.
There are many concepts: CLV, TAM, TAF, so many things. Total marketing, customer value. So all this is ready to help the CEO. So customer must put marketing as his ownership. Any mistake, any success, it is his. Rather, success should be given to team and fault should be mine. If he has to achieve short term as well as the long term growth of the company, the CEO has to be there. So I would say starting point in market, then in the marketing we have to look at the marketing framework, what to sell, where to sell, how to sell, and how to expand, and when to grow, when to go for scale up the operation. These are all CEOs thinking, but everything emerges from marketing only. If you look at, so once you are clear about the marketing, then you can customize the operation, you can customize the organization, you can customize, customize the design. So my thinking goes stays to the customer first, and CEO must know. So if CEO doesn't know, then it is a half baked cake which may be made by the company or goes to the customer. That's what
Yeah.
I would always try to highlight. I tell you a very interesting story. Is although maybe it will fit here or not. When I was mentoring the GS company, they had one very big customer. I don't want to name him.
That's
He
fine.
was he was buying say almost 50 lakh to 1 crore worth component every month. Very big customer in the aftermarket. But at the same
Mm.
time, he was cribbing that I am not making any profit from a product. I am only serving the company. You are my from so long I know you. So as a message, I am just serving you.
Mm.
And neither he would allow other distributor to be made or develop in that particular zone. So it was a catch 22 situation by the management. If they have to expand, they have to expand the network. That guy is too big, they cannot leave him also. If he stops, then their sale will go up. So it was a catch 22. So when I joined, so he said, Jhamb Saab, how to handle him? That so-called the young CEO who was being mentored, he was there and his father chairman was there. We all three were sitting there. I told him, you have to go and meet him. Why you are, relying on your regional manager or your head of the marketing to decide everything? If he is a particular typical case and he's your biggest customer, let's go and meet. So they were surprised. What happened? I don't know. I think if you're doing something wrong with our management policy, it's not the fault of your marketing. Let's go there. So Ankur, we went to Calcutta. I just named the town.
Mhm.
We were there. So I went into details of that customer, the how he is saying that he is not having profit. So I went into
Mm.
detail, made all ledger and account of his what is expenses, what is his purchase, what is selling price. So price came to that he was making 2% profit by selling 2%.
Mm.
To sir, he says I am getting only 2%. I say no, you are not getting 2%. You are getting 2% in every sale you make. You have invested 50 lakh. You are turning 50 lakh every month, and every month means you are making 12 50 lakh turnover rotation 12 times. So it is 12 into 2, 24% you are making in 50 lakh investment.
Mm.
That guy got back and said, Jhamsab, I have. Then he complimented. He told chairman that you got a very intelligent person. I can't answer him. So I told him, since you are very old, long associate, we will value your association. We'll make more dealers and we'll give you commission on their sale. So he was against it. I said, how you doing? They have never talked. Mega no. We have to expand. You can't go beyond 50 lakh. We have to sell 2 crore every month. So balance, since you have been with us for 20 years, I'll give you reward. Whatever we sell to other distributor, you'll get 2% over that commission. So you make more profit. The problem was solved. So everything went there. So what I'm trying to say, this was the CEO mind only, which should have worked there, not just left to the man down the line. So for strategic marketing thinking, the CEO has to be involved. He has to have an insight of the customer. He has to the alignment of all the department, and he has to set the ball rolling. That yes, From a total market, we have to go to relevant market. From relevant market, we have to go to customer who are inline, and from the inline pipe customer, we have to go to customer ready to pay. So if you have marketing is a focus on the relevant customer. Marketing is not a focus on, it is not that simple that tour karo, order book le gaya, order book karo, aisa nahi hota. You have to create that
Mm.
excitement among the customer, and those customers will come to you who has a good experience with you, your company, and they have a delight while buying your product. Then the sky is the limit. That's what. That's
Yeah,
what I
no,
thought.
that's good, and I like your, yeah, no, that's pretty impressive, and I know I like your concept about the inside part, right? Because
Yeah, yeah,
the
right.
feedback mechanism and the attention to detail, are
Yes,
so critical that it's used in every aspect of pretty much every industry, right?
right.
Even the latest the AI models that's going on, the feedback loop is very important. Everybody has realized it because there's nothing that can be built without a proper feedback, because
Right.
it's a volatile world. It
Yeah,
cannot be certain. Certainty is not possible because you're not in a simulation, right?
yeah,
It's not
yeah,
a
yeah.
computer simulated environment, so you
Yeah.
cannot define certainty at all, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
It
You have
will
to live with
always
this.
be dynamic.
Complex world. You have to
Yeah,
live with this. Yeah.
correct. And you need to appreciate it, right? Because it's impossible to be able to say, okay, what's going to happen in the next second. See, I don't know if maybe in next second my internet goes off or the
Yeah.
phone battery
Yeah.
dies or whatever, right? There's some amount of predictability, so it's not
Yeah.
always a uncharted territory, right?
Yeah.
So there are some elements that you can predict, but there will be
Yeah.
some percentage which will always be dynamic and unpredictable, which is how the world is, and you need to cater to it. And I think with your guidance and strategic leadership and your wonderful post, I know you mentioned to me that go Ankur, read my article, and I was not able to put time and effort. But when we talk about the cost of failures and many of the thoughts, we are able to align. Even
Yeah.
in spite of reading your post, I was able to align. And
Right.
that's the thing I have observed with many of my guests, that we share some common alignments. It may
Yeah.
be the way we have led our life, or
Right.
the kind of great people we have met in our life. The few
Yeah.
things, the trajectories meet, and that's how we are able to talk and communicate. So it's wonderful experience, right, that way.
Thank you. Yeah.
And one thing I've seen, yeah, one thing I've seen with many of my guests, and I see that in you, is the willingness to share, and the passion to give it back to the community so
Yeah.
that people others can succeed. See, because see, money is important, absolutely, right?
Yeah.
But to be able to create value is what you are also trying to do. And
Yeah.
once you create value, you are able to get much more than what you could have
Yeah.
anticipated, because then you're driving customer success, you're driving a lot of better things that not it's not always possible for someone with a limited mindset would be able to do, right? So that's really
Right.
nice what I see.
Yeah. Another thing I thought I must tell you that people while setting the plant and the factory and so on, so they buy the best possible machine. They were highly automated, technical, robotized in the present world, latest technology. But when hiring a
Yeah.
people, they start thinking it's a cost. So I brought in that concept with the two, three management company whom I have been associated recently. Is it consider your like you consider investment in the machine, you consider investment in the people. If you find a so-called mediocre guy and you want to fill in the numbers, I have 50 sales people, 20 sales people, you can get anything. It's better to take 10 people, but take the really smart people who know how to work smartly, who are go-getter, who are
Correct.
effective. Don't count the number. So, likewise, marketing activities, marketing strategy, they may, incur cost. For example, if you're designing a contest to interest, to create interest among the customer, uh, I must tell you, one of my very old thinking, I decided that how to really create interest for the dealers. So I said, let's give them foreign visit. They always dream that we should go on tour or holiday. Why not company sponsor their with wife trip to the say Bangkok? That was starting point when I decided. it was considered as a cost. He says this much cost will come. I say yes, cost will come, but see the return what will happen. It may not give you immediate tangible benefit that I sale will not double, but the customer's long association value will definitely improve, and they will bring 10 more customer. You go take one customer with you outside, he'll bring 10 more customer next. This was my thinking that time. I'm talking about almost 20 years back. Of course, one contest I decided when I was working with GS, I just gave them, they create an excitement among the market. You have become too, standardized old tribe company. There's no excitement. People go book orders, sell. Right? Don't do that. Create some excitement. Marketing is nothing. Also, it has to be exciting world. People should look up to you. So, Ankur, that contest really, I mean, the people still remember. I get call
Yeah,
on and off sometimes, sir. When you were that time, वो आपने किया था तो we still remember. My
जिंदगी
wife
बदल गई थी.
that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's
So that's the
memorable. Yeah,
association.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and
So these are cost.
correct. And
This is investment. What I'm trying to say. These are investment.
exactly. Correct. These are investment, and I was about to say that many less people, or I would say many less percentage of people, are able to understand the intangible benefit that these kind of programs or beneficial things could come to the people, right? Because it's very difficult to understand, and it's also a bit of maturity that not everyone would have, right? You had that maturity 20 years back, and I must really think what kind of maturity uh, you know you would have now based on so much experience. So it has been a wonderful journey that you have shared. It's
Yeah,
absolutely
yeah.
amazing.
The God is
uh, you
great.
know
I would say I am so blessed that
yep.
so far, even at this kind of phase of my life, I get calls. I get calls to advise them. I get calls to speak to people. I got calls from you to join. So I feel very happy, and people say, no, your work should speak, not you yourself. So it's also going from mouth to mouth, and I never dreamt that I will even give talk to the college students. Somebody invited me. There was one Italian company called Camosi. They invited me to
Okay.
just address their sales team. I don't know their product, nothing. So just give a thought how you
Mm.
connect the customer, how you build a relationship with the customer, kind of thing. So I told there
Yeah,
also, when you go to customer, don't ask for the order. This is your first step to being relationship. If you only ask for the order, they will ignore you. So that is starting
yeah,
point which you make personal relation. Know
yeah. You have
deep
to
into the
connect, right? You have to correct. You
yeah,
have to connect with the customer,
connect.
because if the customer is driving value, driving revenue, you need to
Yeah,
understand what they really need, right? It's not always what you put on the menu card, or what you, because that, even if you go to a restaurant, right, there are many places pretty much serving the same thing, but still we sometimes if the waiter itself has been very nice to us, right, we like to go, अच्छा वहां पे हमें ट्रीटमेंट अच्छा मिला था, हमें ट्रीटमेंट अच्छा मिला था, या कुछ चीजें जो हमें जिंदगी भर याद रहे, राइट, वो चीज मैटर बहुत ज्यादा करती है, rather than just the food or drink or whatever you go in a restaurant or any product. The value itself means so much more, and there are very less people who understand that, right? And you've been there trying to guide those CSOs or leaders to be able to think in this manner, right, is so much important.
yeah.
I also remember one case when I was working with some of the UI architect of a software company, right, back in my previous role, previous companies. Uh, you know, I used to say, even if you save 1 second or a few seconds of a customer using the product, right, that's much more value, because if 1,000 people are using it, you're saving 1,000 multiplied by that much second, right?
Definitely.
So the
Right.
experience itself makes a lot of difference. It could be the smallest thing. One example you gave was a very nice example. The customer is saying he wants it left, but the company marketing or strategy team said, I want it on the right, right? Now,
Right.
whether the CEO decides he moves that thing to the left, or he makes it so modular, right, that it can be fitted based on what the customer needs or where it needs, right? And that's how custom component came into picture nowadays in
Yes.
hardware as well as in software, right?
Definitely.
Because there are different requirements,
Yeah.
you know. and you need to be able to anticipate it. And it's a
Yeah.
volatile world. You can't anticipate everything, but if you know what you're building, you can anticipate how it impacts the market and what things you can customize, right?
Recently, just
Otherwise,
last week, one very
yeah.
established company MD called me. He knows
uh,
me from other. He just called me. He said, "Just see, come visit, see our organization. Let us know what is lacking in this." So I said, "Okay." So I listed market. Their HR department gave me full structure, organization structure, various department, well organized. It's a company which is on plus side of 1,500 crore revenues nowadays. So after the meeting, I asked MD, that guy, so you want my true observation or you want my such observation? You should be happy. कहता no. मगर better if you are a real effective CEO, which I know you are, you
okay.
should be welcoming criticism. Okay, you should have some
Yeah.
critics with you. So he said, no, no. Let me know what is your take on this. I said your organization is well structured. Each department is very well planned. Organization right up to the bottom from is well organized, well explained. Every role is defined. Everything is there. But one gap which I find is that your all departments are different silos. When
Mm,
have they set together? Forget the all department. Have marketing and sale ever set together? Because I asked this question to HR department. They said without MD was not there. They said they never sit. They only crib each other. So they're growing company. Their annual YOY growth is about 25%, doing very well in the packaging industry and durable industry. I
mm,
said that is a lacking, in my opinion. You have to ensure they align themselves, align with each other in respect to the customer. Who's your customer? How you know your customer happy or not happy? You get feedback from whom? I asked him. Then he told me, then I came to the point, as I was mentioning, to the need of insight. I said, you need people who could tell you the insight where they don't meet. Then he asked me, what your role, you can play your role. What will be your role if you join us? I said, I don't take any operational responsibility. I passed that age. Yes, when you have this meeting, I can sit there, I can guide your leadership, the person who lead them, and maybe I can add values by giving my views, and I will ensure that you get right insight at least at your level so that you can take your decision is not today. Your decision is going to affect 5 years after. That's what your MD,
correct.
because each of the department doing today, present. You are thinking of 5 years after. If you want to really think
Mhm.
good 5 years after, then have good insight. So, and have the cross-function team meeting. Call other department by rotation, sometime finance department, sometime research department, sometime development department. So they should also have the feel of customer. How does customer look like? Because your finance manager may not have seen the face of the customer. Why should he not? Because
Correct.
his earning also come from his salary, also come from customer. So my view is
Right.
that each department in your company should be aligned to the customer, and you should get a right insight. And at least your marketing and sales should very periodically sit together, so that what strategy marketing is deciding, they will not be executed properly if sale is not aligned with them. So
Right. And they will always be fighting, as you said,
they're
na,
always
the
fighting.
HR department was saying that
Yeah,
they meet for fighting. And I've
yeah,
seen this in the software industry
yeah.
as well, right? Where the
Every
testing team always fights with the
yeah,
development team. They're
yeah,
saying, okay, ये ऐसे नहीं बना और ऐसे होना चाहिए, right? And people are doing that in the software industry where they're shifting left, right? So when you're
yeah,
building a product, they're testing and doing all the scenario testing on the left hand side itself, so that before it reaches the customer, it has gone through those
yeah,
scenarios much ahead in the cycle, right?
yeah.
And similarly in the FMCG or packaging industry business, you have to make sure the teams meet so that they're
Team,
not fighting, they're working towards a common goal, right? That's customer success, because
they are
at
all
the end the
individually
customer
making the
is paying.
boss
Yeah,
happy. They are not making the customer happy. That's a problem. So I told you
that's
very
the biggest
clearly.
problem I have seen.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's very
Yes.
difficult one.
It's a
I know you were
difficult.
just saying something. I interrupted you, but it's very difficult because if the boss is, making sure that your appraisals happen or not,
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
it becomes very mentally a mental block that you always aim your life's goal to make sure the boss is happy, which you have
Yeah.
to, right? So I'm not saying, I'm not trying to be a rebel saying, okay, let's not make the boss happy, but there are bigger goals that you need to focus on, right? And that may
Mm.
not align, or align, may or may not align with what your manager would be telling you. He might be saying total crap, right? But because the appraisal system or the growth in company is built in such a way, it becomes very difficult, and
Right.
many people struggle with that, right? I've seen
Mm.
many people come to me, what's the solution? I said it's very difficult. It's very I would say near to impossible in some area,
Yeah.
where a boss may give a good project to a favorite person and not give a good project to someone he doesn't like, and
Yeah.
1 year down the line that other person will not be able to perform, right? Because it
Right.
has already been planned 6 months ahead of the time. So it's a very
Right.
difficult scenario that at some levels you can't even deal with. And
Yeah.
people like you or the CEO, if they're watching these people talk, they will be able to anticipate this and
Yeah.
prevent this from happening, because somebody might be able to add more value than you can even imagine, right?
Mm.
You just have to give that person the right opportunity.
Primarily, a CEO have not to make a guesswork. His decision should always
Yeah,
be informed decision. Informed decision can
correct.
from the feedback, and if feedback is true, it's good. If it is not, then he has to create a kind of a section or insight which should give him a right feedback, because he is not only to he has to decide strategy to foresee if there's any new entrant to the market, for example, or
Correct.
what is the bargaining power of the buyers. He must realize this. What is the bargaining power of supplier? That also he has to see, for example. And what are the threat to substitute of your product? If your product is getting, can be imitated or not? So all these things. And then industry rivalry. These are all areas which come under CEO's purview, because he's thinking 5 years ahead. At the same time,
Hmm.
he's running the operation. So when I write this article, and on base of my own experience, on the basis of my leadership experience as a operational head, and also as a experience of mentor or advisor with a company like GS and now as a freelancer, I feel CEO must own the customer, because starting point will remain the market always. Whether it is software
Correct.
industry, is a automotive industry, durable industry, consumer industry, any industry, because he has to foresee many threats and many opportunities, many rivalry and many mistakes and many blunders organization may do. But at the same time, you cannot get 100% kind of defect free. Even you can't make a god has not made defect free person, so product cannot be made. So he has to convert mistake into the opportunities and move ahead. The CEO
Right.
must be that he
Yeah,
should move
moving
ahead.
ahead. Yeah.
Even others should follow. Let them follow. When they reach your product 90%, you move to next product, kind of quality. That's a CEO. So that's how the successful organization grow. You must, if you study case study successful organization, there the focus will go to CEO only. Who was the CEO? So CEO
Yeah.
is the real torch bearer of the company. Other departments are important. They have to be there, because you have to have many eyes, many ears. But how to align them? So for that, I think need of insights, need of the feedback, need to ensure customer is happy, and not only happy, is delighted, and his experience with the company is very good. You will also see day to day life. You buy some, say you buy some AC, you buy, there are 5 brands of AC available, but you get happy with only one brand, because the customer services are very good, the people came there very nice to you, who installed the product very nice to you. So such thing matters. So this thing come, you know uh, flow from top to bottom. Feedback goes from bottom to top. So that's how the thing goes in the professional world
Yeah.
or corporate world. So that's what
Yeah.
I thought.
And both are important.
My take on the leadership
Yeah.
status, and leadership has to be aligned to the customer, and must have the right feedback, and must have the alignment of all the department, so that
Yeah.
he can
Well
think of.
said. Yeah.
That's what.
No, it's you well said that. Yeah, that's pretty good. And I know I've been very fortunate. It's an honor to
It's
be
my pleasure.
speaking to you, and
Yeah,
so much experience you have, and being even being from different industries. I could relate many of the aspects that you have mentioned. In a different automotive packaging or even in software, because at the end, right, you're basically driving sales, marketing. You
yeah,
need to look at revenue growth, and these are very common factors across anything you do, right?
yeah.
Now
Right.
personal brand itself has been very high in demand, right? Because you yourself have to market yourself, and we do that when we are doing a job interview. We are trying to sell ourselves.
Yeah,
And what you said is also right about investing on people, because at the end, they are your real asset. Machines will come and go, right?
yeah,
I remember, back in the 90s, when one of my uncles, he used to do copper winding, if you might be aware of the transformers, and you have to have so many turns, right, to make a proper copper step-up transformer or a step-down
yeah,
transformer. So it has
yeah,
to
yeah.
have maybe
Mendable.
50 rotations
Yeah,
or correct, right? And then you do those rotation. There's E core is there, and there's a C core, and you connect those two cores and do the winding, and then you
right.
have a bigger core, then you other winding, and there has to be a particular count, and he used to do it manually, right? And I know, and there were like 100 or 200 people trying to get that perfected, measure the coil and the copper wire, right? Because it has to be perfect, because even a small inch up and down in the length, and that will just spoil the transformer. Then
Right.
I remember we discussed with him on automation part, and I think 5 or 10 years later, then he visited some states or some countries where he purchased those equipments, and he was able to fully automate that, and the machines were able to do a few hundred people work. And I was say, and we were discussing back then, 20 years, or I think it was 15 years back, what will happen to those 200 people you have employed? And he said, I'm going to increase my production. They're going to do different stuff, right? And he wasn't thinking of removing people at all. That's not a you can still hear me, right?
I think you are visible. Yeah, now you're visible. I think what you're saying is absolutely right, Ankur. Uh, since coming around the topic, what you said is right, and what we exchange thought are, I think, aligned to the present situation. And fundamentally, marketing, whether it is A product or B product, A type or B type, it remains the same. It is fundamentally same. So, uh, if we are able to add values to someone with our discussion, we are so happy to take. You can ask me any other question if you want to have in your mind, so you can ask me.
I think some problem with my.
I am able to hear you
Just
properly.
give me 1 minute. You can still hear me, right?
Yeah, sorry, I can hear you properly.
Just give me 1 minute.
Okay,
There's some technical issue. Actually, I put my phone on airplane mode, but I got a social media call, and that I think disrupted my
okay.
audio stream. You're able to hear me, right? Can you give me
Yes,
a
yes,
thumbs
I
up if
can.
you can hear me?
I Yeah.
Okay, you can hear me, but I can't hear you for some reason.
You can't hear me.
Let me.
Should I close and again do it?
I don't know what just
Now I open
happened.
the. Can you hear me now?
Somebody's trying to call
Are you
me
able to hear me
continuously on
now?
social media. Sorry about that. So, yeah, I'm not able to hear your voice, but I think we are towards the end of the talk show. Is it okay we end the stream and we connect later?
Sure. I think we had
Okay.
good.
I think your voice would be recorded, but for some reason I'm not able to hear it. So we'll have to communicate via actions as much as possible. I don't know what happened. I did put my phone on airplane mode, but I think the social media calls they interrupted the video streams. I'll try to see how I can block that also in future. But yeah, if you can hear me in the audience, thank you so much, Umesh ji. It was lovely talking to you, and I'm sure we'll connect again in future. We can
Thank
make
you.
it a series and connect on a regular interval. Anything that you want to tell to the audience as a closing comment?
It was pleasure to speak to you, and I hope some of the thoughts which have emerged out of my experience and my own, learning would be helpful. And it will be pleasure to connect with anyone who wants to associate, and it will be pleasure from me to help anybody or to support anybody's operation. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, good. So thank you so much. I'll end the stream now, and we'll connect on message. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Bye. Take care.
Bye bye. Bye. All the best.